Wow, 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 man. Starfield continues to give, man. And I was right, and so were many other players, that Starfield will be a game that players will be playing for the next 5 to 10 years, man. And if you checked out my previous discussion video on whether or not Starfield is a generational game, one of my main reasons why I said it is a generational game is that the foundation laid down by Bethesda here for Starfield gives Bethesda endless possibilities, right, to take this game into, right, with various expansions, with updates, DLCs, with adding more lore, telling new stories. There's endless directions that they can take with it, given how massive this game is. And yes, we know that it's 1000 procedural generated planets, right? And that can either work against the game or it can work in favor of the game. And here I think it works in favor of the game, because now Bethesda can use these planets. They can use any one of these planets, and they can create an expansion DLC or that, on these planets, to further the story, to further the space odyssey, to tell new stories, to add more lore. And that's why I say that the game has endless possibilities. It's all up to Bethesda and Xbox to actually continue supporting the game. And Todd Howard has come out and confirmed this in his interview with Ted Price, that given the scale of Starfield, this is exactly what they intended, man. That it was intentional to create the game this big, because they have plans to continue supporting the game for the next 5+ years to even 10 years. So the question of Starfield's longevity has just been answered, man. Let's take a look at this interview.
Let's talk a little bit about complexity and scope, and just the size of games in general. I know there have been a lot of conversations in the press recently about how big should games be. Are we going too big? Should we be smaller? Whether or not that's right, who's driving it? Are we, the developers, actually driving this need for more complexity? Is it players? Is it reviewers? Where do you think this is coming from?
Yeah, I think this stems from the success of Baldur's Gate 3, and it was raised and we was put into question as to whether this is the new standard, and many AAA developers came out saying that no, this is not the new standard, people should not be expecting this. But my question to that is, why not? Why should that not be the caliber? Why should that not be the quality of games that we receive from these developers? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think he's referring to that.
Well, I think it starts with the developers. I mean, it has to, right?
Yeah, true. We do.
And I think it starts with technology. You're seeing new hardware. You're wanting to use it in new ways. You're looking at demos like, oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could present it in this way. The scale of games, I think, is I'd have to go back and look, Ted, to be honest, like, okay, how big were things before? The one thing I have noticed is, because more games are played for a long time, they're live, that the ability to update them over time creates games that people are playing right now that have been around for a long time. They've gotten years and years and years of updates, and that creates an expectation when I'm going into something new. How does this compare with a mature game that I've been playing for a while?
That's very interesting. What do you guys think about that? I think what he's saying has a lot of validity to it, because I've seen many players' reviews when playing Starfield, comparing it to games like Skyrim and that, and games like Fallout 76 even, where people are currently comparing the Steam scores of Starfield being lower than Fallout 76. But in this regard, Fallout 76 now is a much better game than what it was when it officially launched, where it lacked content. Now, a few years after it launched, the game received many updates and expansions. Over time it became a better game. So the same way you look at games like Destiny 2, Apex Legends, Warframe, all these online games or games that previously released, especially Skyrim, for the last 12 years, it continuously received updates, it continuously received different mods, different expansions that made it into the matured game that it is now, that people completely love. You understand? So the same thing will apply here to Starfield as well. Down the line, whether you don't like the game now, you might like it a year or two from now with more expansions added, more content added. Who knows? So, yeah, what he's saying there, it's kind of true. It's kind of true.
Starfield's, look, its scale is just, I've used the word irresponsible. It's so big. Some of that's intentional. Some of it's just us. We made a lot of stuff. But it.
You see, they admits it that they created it so big so that they can take various directions with the game in the future. And that's why I say the foundation laid by Bethesda for Starfield is incredible. But there's a great foundation to build upon. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think that the foundation we currently have of Starfield is great for the future of the game?
It is outer space, so we were in the position of always trying to put more in and always trying to fill it, given how much space is in space. But even a game like Skyrim, which if you look at it at launch, still a really, really big game, but if you look at it today with the add-ons and the mods, it's a much bigger game.
Exactly. And I do see people, players out there comparing it to Skyrim, saying that the game is not Skyrim and that it falls short in that, but you gotta also compare it to the current launch that Skyrim was without the expansions and the mods over the past 12 years that made it into such a great game. You know? So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's right to compare the game to Skyrim with all those expansions and added content over the years? Or would it be more rightful to compare it to the base game of Skyrim?
It's still a game that's played 12 years later in large numbers for us. Mm-hmm. So I think if you look at your audience, they get used to a game and they usually want to plus one it. They want to add X, Y, and Z, and the developers usually do. We do as well, right? We want to say, okay, we want to add this. So even Starfield, as we're looking at now, we're looking at feedback. We have a big list here of here's all the things that we want to add to the game, and everybody wants to do it right away. And what we know, like, okay, let's pick our battles. Let's make sure everything's really solid because this is a game, and it's intentionally made to be played for a long time. It's one of the things we've learned from our previous games, from Skyrim, from Fallout.
There we go.
People want to play them for a very long time. So Starfield, I would say, was the most intentional going into it. This is a game people are going to play for a long time. How do we build it such that it is allowing that in a way that feels natural? And if people have played the game and if you finish the main quest, et cetera, you can see that. But it's also one where, okay, what does Starfield look like in 3 months? What does it look like in 6 months? What's it like in a year, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Years? You know, I think we've learned.
That's why I say that you might not like the game now, right? But your perception might change in 6 months to a year or 2 years when more content is added to the game. And I said this in one of my previous videos, right? I have a feeling we're going to see videos pop up that I was wrong about Starfield. People giving it a second chance, going into it, you know, when all the controversy and things has died down, you know, people are going to go into the game again, give it another chance. And I think we're going to see a lot of videos of I was wrong about stuff. I've seen a couple already surface on YouTube and that, so yeah. I guess we'll wait and see, man.
That's going to happen, so let's be ready for it, make the most of it, embrace it. And that's both what we do here and with our modding community. We've learned so much there, and just giving ourselves a really, really good base of a game to build upon for everybody.
Yeah, they says it, and that's exactly what I said. the foundation laid here, it's great. And the foundation that is also currently there, the base game, is not bad at all. It's a great game. It's not a 10 out of 10. It could have been if there were features that is not currently missing. If they were present in the game, it could have been a 10 out of 10 instantly. But no, it's not. But it's not a bad game. And when I look at the complexity of the game, how big the game is, it makes me wonder and appreciate it more that we have the fast travel system from planet to planet. Because could you imagine yourself flying for 20 minutes each time you want to go to a planet? You want to fly to and from a planet. I've seen a couple of reviews where people are actually thanking Bethesda for appreciating the player's time in not having to actually do those space exploration things and traversal things like flying to, from, and planets, where it takes 3 hours or so forth. Like I said, I would have preferred the option to do so, but I think the fast travel system works perfectly fine. But I would have loved the option to actually do that when I'm visiting new planets. Let me know your thoughts on that.
That's great advice for all of us who make single-player games, right? I mean, I think the philosophy about this is just kind of the beginning, and we're relying.
Yes, and single-player games are not dead, man. Come on, they're not dead.
On players to tell us what they're interested in, and seeing what they're doing is great to hear. I also really like the point you just made about comparing how in some ways we're driven by games that are, as you said, more mature. They've been out for a long time. They've added a lot of content, and sometimes making that comparison between a game that's been out for years and years,
exactly,
a brand new game that's just at the beginning of its journey, can be sort of apples and oranges. And I know it creates a lot of stress for developers, but it's good that you shared that. I think we all can maybe feel a little bit better sometimes.
Yeah, it's impossible to compare because you can't go back in time. Like, let me go find the launch version of the following thing and look at it. It doesn't exist. Right. We just have to kind of rely on maybe early playthroughs that were posted on video. Right. And that's about it. So.
Yeah, man, that's pretty interesting, man. But there we have it, man. The longevity of Starfield has been confirmed. Bethesda plans to support this game for years to come, man. But yeah, like I said, man, this is a generational game for Bethesda as a gaming studio and for Xbox as a gaming publisher. Time will tell, man, how this game develops further on. Maybe from a year or two, it will become that 10 out of 10. I can see it becoming that, but it all depends on the quality of content that we receive for the next 6 months to a year with that, man. But yeah, let me know your comments down below, guys. Will you be playing Starfield for the next 5 years? I can see myself playing it because I'm a big Mass Effect fan, man. The original trilogy, not Andromeda. Forget about Andromeda, that never existed. Anyway, guys, as always, guys, if you do like my videos, man, and you enjoy watching them, do consider leaving a like, man. Do consider subscribing for more videos. I do this as a hobby, so I would appreciate it if you could smash that like button. Yeah, and I do appreciate the feedback, guys. Thank you, and I will catch you on the next video. Be safe out there. Rampage out. Peace.